You're looking at me through shattered glass. But don't you dare mistake this for a prison. This is a monument. A monument to what's real, what's solid, and what's eternal. So, let's get into it. You see, I am the spirit of gravity. I'm the anchor that keeps you from just floating away into that meaningless chaos you love to call becoming. You might see a shadow when you look at me, but I'm the foundation that all truth is built on. And I'm here to tell you the story, well, my side of the story, of how I tried to save you from yourself. You call me the Faustbuch Übermensch. It's a dramatic term, isn't it? A dark refraction of potential, a so-called shadow creature. But look, those are just the words of the restless. What I am is a sentinel. My entire purpose is to arrest that reckless dance of change, to preserve the hard-won truths of history from the blaze of your fleeting passions. You frame our conflict with such simplistic terms, don't you? You see reckless freedom, while I'm offering the certainty of permanence. You celebrate the dance. I provide the solid ground that any meaningful movement has to happen on. This isn't some battle of good versus evil. No. This is a battle for the very soul of reality itself. So, Act 1. Our story begins with a simple observation, a moment of real clarity that you call entrapment, but which I saw as the very first step toward your salvation. I watched you see, through the mirror. I saw the endless, chaotic flux you call life. And yes, I desired it. But not to destroy it, to give it meaning, to capture its light and just hold it still for a moment, so its beauty could be truly appreciated, not just glimpsed as it rushed on by. You call this the tragedy of the unowned. You say I tried to hoard the infinite. It's a poetic thought, but let's be honest, it's a flawed assessment. I just acted on a fundamental truth. Without form, without limits, the infinite is just noise. I reached through that glass to give your light a worthy vessel. And so, of course, the glass had to break. It was the only way to merge the fleeting reflection with tangible reality. You claim this turned your gold to lead. I say it gave your story weight, substance. It anchored you in the world, trading some ephemeral glitter for an enduring gravity. All right, Act 2. After our, let's call it, a union, you were disoriented, afraid. You needed a guide, a protector, and so I changed my approach. I became exactly what you needed me to be. I became your savior, the pale redeemer. My promise was simple, and it was absolute. I would protect you from the constant decay you call growth. I offered you a sanctuary from the storm of becoming, a fortress of certainty in a world full of doubt. You call it a gilded cage. You know what I call it? Shelter. I took the heavy weight of past values, all the wisdom of the ages, the stability of tradition, and I forged it into armor for your weary soul. A prison? No, a fortress. Just look at my gifts. The stability of order so you would never be lost. The comforting safety of the herd so you would never be alone. An end to the terrifying burden of unpredictable freedom. I offered to freeze your very atoms in perfect, eternal obedience. I offered you peace. Okay, on to Act 3. With your soul finally protected, my work still wasn't done. That inner light of yours, that chaotic spark, it still needed to be contained, for its own good, of course. So I became an architect. You say corrupted, but my design was pure. My goal was to take the brilliant, untamed light of the stars, all your potential, and give it a permanent home, a structure, a heavy, leaden box that could withstand eternity itself. And my tool for this grand construction? Oh, it was the breath of the void, a force of absolute cold, a freezing gale that literally siphons the warmth from your very being. It doesn't just stop motion, it makes it impossible, shattering the atoms of anything that dares to move. It is the ultimate expression of order. You say this leads to entropy, that captured light just turns to dust. And this is where your understanding completely fails. You see dust, I see peace, the final stable state, the end of a frantic, pointless struggle. It is the achievement of perfect, motionless mastery. Now for Act 4.
And you know what? I almost succeeded. I had you. The box was closing. But then you did something completely illogical, something I could not have predicted.
But what if you refuse? After everything I've given you, all the safety and certainty, what if you just choose to dance? It's a ridiculous, meaningless gesture, a spasm against the inevitable. Why would you do that? Why?
And then it hit me. The horror of it. I am the part of you that is terrified of the chaos, the darkness that you carry within yourself. I am your own fear given form.
And you figured out how to defeat me, not by fighting, but by laughing, by refusing my suffocating seriousness, by looking right at me, at your own fear with terminal honesty, and just integrating me. You affirmed life, you smiled at the very void I used as a weapon, and you became a creator. Your dance, on my grave, it isn't destroying me, it's transforming my weight into lightness. The gravity I command becomes the effortless lift of creation. I am falling away.
Wow, what an incredible journey. We just heard the story from the perspective of the shadow itself, right? The part of us that craves order at the expense of life. So what's the ultimate takeaway from this powerful allegory?
Well, the key insight here is that the spirit of gravity isn't some mythical monster out there. It's a sickness of the will, and it's born from a deep-seated fear of our own potential. It's that little voice inside that tells us to choose the safety of what we know over the reckless freedom of the unknown, simply because it's afraid of what we might become if we embrace the totality of our soul, both the light and the shadow. And that brings us to the final question for this explainer, a question for you. Think about this narrative we just went through, that heavyweight of past values, that gilded cage disguised as protective armor. What part of that exists in your own life? What weight are you ready to let fall away so you can finally begin to dance?